We have no business dabbling into anything that has to do with nuclear warfare.
No going back on nuclear test ban in Nigeria, federal government insists.
Beyond party lines, we should not be afraid to say it. You have a progressive spirit.
States compliment federal government. Enugu unveils airline. Kano distributes transformers. 1 year after ascending the throne, Olubadan Oba Owolabi joins ancestors. You're watching the network news on NTA. Welcome. I'm Naja'atu Tijani. And John Adams is standing by in Lagos, while Musa Abubakar and Ayo Makinde in Abuja are standing by with business and sports highlights. Musa?
Equities market began the week in positive territory as oil prices climb.
And Ayo, what can we expect from the sports desk?
Well, it is an Africa Cup of Nations for the Women of Wonders. The match is actually ongoing, and also remember that Nigeria is preparing for the Africa Karate Championship.
Details in the course of the bulletin. Meanwhile, remember that this broadcast is being streamed live on our website, nta.ng/live. Do follow us across social media. Our handles are displayed on the screen. Let's begin with the BRICS Summit. Nigeria is reaffirming its commitment to fostering strategic collaborations which will translate to sustainable and inclusive development for all, as the country calls on the BRICS to lead a new path of global justice. The president made the commitment in his address at the BRICS Summit of Heads of State and Government in Rio de Janeiro. State House correspondent Musbau Danwahab reports.
President Bola Tinubu is here, representing Nigeria, recognized as a partner country to the BRICS. And the characteristic pleasantry again between the two friends as President Luis Lula da Silva received his invited guests. President of the largest black nation in the world featured in the circle as the bloc focused on how to strengthen Global South cooperation for more inclusive and sustainable governance. Such issue bothers President Tinubu from Africa's perspective. The Nigerian leader cited the climate change adaptation programs, for example, and acknowledged how Africa suffers the most despite contributing the least to the global emission. And so, with some global resolutions skewed against Africa, President Tinubu is hoping that the BRICS can rewrite the story in fairness.
Nigeria therefore called on BRICS to lead a new path of justice anchored on fairness, sustainable technology, transfer and accessible financing, such that emerging economies can fully benefit from the various initiatives in this field.
He highlighted Nigeria's effort to accelerate renewable energy adoption, mainstream climate action, promote nature-based solutions, and strengthen urban resilience, among other decisions to ensure inclusivity in growth and prosperity.
We believe the BRICS must not only be a bloc of emerging economies, it must be a beacon of emerging solutions and resolutions rooted in solidarity, self-reliance, sustainability, and shared growth, prosperity of a common future.
Expressing the country's strong belief in the South-South cooperation, President Tinubu indicated Nigeria's readiness as the giant of Africa to take its place in global decision-making.
Nigeria strongly believes in South-South cooperation. We can therefore not be passive participants in global decision-making. We must be architects of our future that addresses the specific needs and concerns of youth, which represent 70% of our population in Nigeria. Therefore, We believe Nigeria remains guided by our long-term vision 2050 and nationally determined contribution.
President Tinubu affirmed to the bloc his administration's resolve to transform challenges into opportunities through purposeful programs and policies. In Rio de Janeiro, Musbal and Wahab, NTA News.
No going back. Nigeria is also collaborating with the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty Organization to ensure compliance, with Vice President Kashim Shettima receiving the Executive Secretary of the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty Organization, Robert Floyd, for discussions. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports.
Africa's priority at the moment is to address its existential challenges of poverty and the effect of climate change, not the pursuit of nuclear weapons capability. Vice President Kashim Shettima reiterated the commitment of Nigeria to a comprehensive nuclear test ban and appreciates the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty Organization for the extra vigilance taken, having 337 stations spread across the world.
We are fighting a war against the incestuous relationship between economy and ecology in sub-Saharan Africa. We have no business dabbling into anything that has to do with nuclear warfare. The beauty of CTBTO's functions is that the monitors also have civilian purposes, especially in assisting us to detect tsunamis, volcanic seismic activities. So your functions are contributing to the global stability of our ecology.
The Executive Secretary Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty Organization, Dr. Robert Floyd, applauded Nigeria's leadership under President Tinubu for contributing to the attainment of the global average in the reduction of nuclear testing and establishment of strong norms against it. He also spoke on the significance of the data generated by the Nigerian Atomic Energy Commission and the Nigerian Nuclear Regulatory Authority, particularly in saving lives through early detection of natural disasters and other human activities that are inimical to orderliness in the ecosystem. From the State House, Abdurrahman Jibrila, NTA News.
Rebuilding public trust. The Tinubu administration is doing this by deploying funds saved from the removal of fuel subsidy to provide critical infrastructure for the benefit of citizens, as contained in President Tinubu's message delivered to stakeholders at the National Conference on Public Accounts and Fiscal Governance. National Assembly correspondent Mitairi Ikben reports that the Public Accounts Committees of the Senate and House of Representatives organized the event.
This conference brings together lawmakers, policymakers, and accounting officers to chart a new course for transparency in the use of public funds. Delivering the President's address, Minister of State for Finance Nkiruka Uzoka Nite emphasized that no nation can prosper without prudent management of public resources, while referencing steps taken by the Tinubu administration to redirect windfall from the removal of fuel subsidy for public good.
Since its removal, we have redirected those funds into targeted interventions, expanding our social safety nets, improving public transportation, and financing critical infrastructure projects.
The Public Accounts Committees of the National Assembly expressed determination to put an end to systemic financial leakages and recklessness, calling on accounting officers at all tiers of government to be on the same page.
We must treat public funds not as privilege, but as sacred trust, and we must ensure every naira counts.
There is an urgent need for us to unite around the common agenda of an urgent need to combat the ills of corruption, impunity, and abuse of due process in public sector financial management.
Public accounts committees of the state must brace up.
It is not sufficient to merely identify irregularities, and there must be consistencies.
Participants agree that the conversations here are timely and the conference is seen as a milestone to bring about a new culture of making public funds work for public good through accountability and shared responsibility. In Abuja, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
Still talking accountability and shared responsibility, 100 compressed natural gas-powered buses recently inaugurated by President Bola Tinubu in Kaduna State have commenced full operations. Muhammad Umar Ajingi has the details.
It is a new dawn in Kaduna as the much-anticipated compressed natural gas CNG buses begin operations, offering relief to residents battling with transportation challenges.
Right now, sitting here in the bus, I somehow feel like I'm dreaming, because this is what we students want early. Since I think when I was in 100 level, we used to face all these challenges from coming to our home to the school.
20 numbers were allocated to the workers, and we are grateful for that. You can see, despite our number, we have taken the chunk, but I mean good percentage of it.
Leading by example, the governor of the state personally joined one of the buses, taking a symbolic ride from NTA Junction to Sabontesha. He stopped along the way to pick up students and other commuters, demonstrating the government's commitment to serving the people directly.
Because of work we've done in the area of transportation, President Bola Tinubu have also supported Kaduna State in our light rail project for us to do the groundbreaking of our light rail on the 22nd of September this year. And of course, Kaduna State will be the second state apart from Lagos to have light rail project.
This initiative is a key component of the state's mass transit revitalization plan, aimed at providing affordable, eco-friendly and efficient public transport across the state.
The CNG-powered buses fully put to use today in Kaduna State are expected to be conveying passengers from different locations in the metropolis, and it is free for good 6 months for students as well as civil servants.
In Kaduna, I am Muhammad Umar Ajingi, NTA.
Free for 6 months. Similarly, Kano State government is considering alternative solutions to boosting electric power supply aimed at facilitating economic growth and industrial development. Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf made this known during the distribution of 500 units of transformers to the 44 local government areas. Abdullahi Mustafa reports.
This is a collaboration between Kano State government and the 44 local government councils to address persistent electric power distribution challenges in both urban and rural communities across the state. The initiative, Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf stated, is aimed at facilitating economic growth and industrial development with the broader goal of creating employment opportunities and significantly reducing poverty. He further disclosed that additional long-term measures are being considered to provide a lasting solution to the state's electricity challenges.
With the current population surge of over 21 million people and the rise of emerging businesses, Kano State cannot be left behind in the supply and distribution of electricity.
In a major development, Governor Yusuf announced the state-owned electricity company has commenced evacuation of power from the 10-megawatt Tiga hydropower generation plant. The governor urged residents of the benefiting communities to take ownership of the infrastructure by safeguarding it against vandalism. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa.
Now let's head to Enugu State, which has witnessed the first landing and inauguration of state-owned airline Enugu Air at the Akanu Ibiam International Airport. Chika Ugu reports that State Governor Dr. Peter Mba describes it as an economic enabler driven by excellence to ensure connectivity and job creation.
The launch of the Enugu Air is more than just a structure, but also a regional hub for the southeast and beyond, as well as a means to achieving its vision of attracting over 3 million tourists annually, creating jobs for over 20,000 people, and growing the state's GDP.
Through Enugu Air, we have shown how much
we can achieve and accomplish when there is sufficient political will and, of course, the requisite vision.
Beyond party lines, we should not be afraid to say it. You have a progressive spirit, you have done well for Enugu State, and you are one of the best performing governors of the whole.
The Enugu airline has passed through the strict aviation process and licensed to fly.
His Excellency didn't just articulate this vision, he stayed the course, backed it with policies, resources, accountability, and most importantly, he rode his sleeves with his personal involvement and belief.
The airline, which is fully operational from Enugu to Lagos and Abuja, is in partnership with a private organization renowned for its aviation excellence in Africa. In Enugu, Chika Ubu, NTA News.
Thank you, Chika. This is the network news on NTA. More news in a moment. Stay tuned. Revitalizing the Almajiri and out-of-school children's initiative is the bold and powerful theme of a campaign by the National Commission for Almajiri and out-of-school children's education, which has rolled into Maiduguri, Borno State with purpose and passion. The campaign is set to sweep across 7 states in Nigeria, planting seeds of hope wherever it goes. Umar Jimbarima reports.
In Yobe State, Unisa Suleiman reports that the National Commission for Almajiri and Out-of-School Children Education has kicked off an advocacy and awareness campaign targeting key stakeholders in a bid to galvanize efforts towards addressing issues bordering on safety and child enrollment in the state.
We anticipate the following outcomes. 1. Increase awareness and buy-in from the state and local government areas. Effective implementation of advocacy activities across the nation. Through Yobe State, improve knowledge and attitude among targeted audience.
With the number of out-of-school children on the rise, the federal government, through the National Commission for Almajiri and Out-of-School Children's Education, is addressing the issues, beginning with an advocacy campaign. In Kano State, Fatima Sanisu-Karaye reports that the initiative is designed to promote inclusive education through targeted reforms and community engagement.
We are hoping to put them back to school. We are hoping to also give them skills acquisition training, especially the Almajiris.
Our expectation, we will have cooperation from the parents, from the children, from the Alaramas, and from those people that are misusing this particular set of children.
The campaign was also carried out in Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, with the purpose and passion under the theme Revitalization of the Almajiri and Out-of-School Children's Initiative.
We have Borno Central, we have Borno North and Borno South. And we hope to commence the flagging off of this particular activity in Borno South soonest.
Omar Jimbarima reports that the advocacy is one that sows the seeds of hope, bridging barriers and fostering inclusion for all.
That was actually a compilation of reports from across the benefiting states presented from our Abuja studios. Now, the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, NIPR, has signed a Memorandum of Understanding with Nasarawa State Government for the establishment and operation of the University of Public Relations and Leadership in Gudi, Nasarawa State. Hamman Jabani reports that key players are calling the initiative a major leap towards advancing the professional practice of public relations and leadership studies in Nigeria.
The University of Public Relations and Leadership in Nasarawa State, which is expected to commence academic activities next year, and with 120 countries under Global Alliance indicating interest in the project, Nigerian Institute of Public Relations is moving fast to see to the establishment of the first public relations and leadership university in the world. At a brief but symbolic ceremony, Nasarawa State Governor Abdullahi Sule reaffirmed his administration's support for the proposed institution. As part of the partnership, the state government committed to fencing the university premises and constructing initial structures ahead of its formal inauguration in November 2026.
It's one organization that having the advantage that before even setting up the institution, over 120 countries have indicated interest. So that is the reason why you can use this platform for the real renewed hope of Nigerians.
And they have chosen Nigeria as a place they want to site this great university that will service the needs of 126 countries.
The governor presented certificate of occupancy for the university land to the NIPR leadership. Haman Jabani, NTA News.
The throne of the Olubadan of Ibadan land is vacant with the passing of Oba Owolabi Olakuleyin in the early hours of this Monday. Wasiu Abdurrauf reflects on the life and legacy of the late revered monarch.
Late monarch Oba Owolabi Olakuleyin was born on July 5, 1935. His journey in life reflects a blend of public service, military leadership, entrepreneurship and political engagement. His career journey began as a clerk in the Ministry of Works with the Western Region government then in Ibadan, while pursuing higher education at Yaba College of Technology, where he earned ordinary national diploma and higher national diploma in building. In 1970, Olakuleyin joined the Nigerian Army as a second lieutenant and rose through the ranks, commanding key units and retired as a major in 1979. The late monarch was elected into the House of Representatives on the platform of Social Democratic Party, SDP, representing Ibadan Southeast constituency. During his tenure, he chaired the House Committee on the Nigerian Army. Olakuleyin's traditional journey began in 1983 as a Mogaji and progressed to become the Balogun of Ibadan land. On July 12, 2024, he ascended the throne as the 43rd Olubadan of Ibadan land.
We are celebrating Baba's life, from his military career to business to sojourn in politics, and of course, ascension to the throne of the Olubadan of Ibadan land.
Oba Olakuleyin joined his ancestors 2 days after his 98th birthday and a few days to 1 year anniversary as a monarch in Ibadan. Wasiu Rauf,
President Bola Tinubu extends his condolences to the royal family, government and people of Oyo State and Ibadan land on the loss of the Olubadan of Ibadan land, Oba Owolabi Olakuleyin, who passed away aged 90 years. President Tinubu describes the late monarch who ascended the throne on March 14, 2024 as a highly accomplished man of peace, a public servant and a royal father. President Tinubu hails the Oba's legacy as one that bridged tradition and modernity, adding that his wisdom and moral authority served as a stabilizing force in Ibadan land and the wider Yoruba nation. The president prays for the peaceful repose of the monarch's soul. The Sultan of Sokoto and Chairman National Traditional Rulers Council of Nigeria, Alhaji Muhammad Saad Abubakar, expresses sorrow on the passing of Oba Owolabi Olakuleyin, the Olubadan of Ibadan land. In his condolence through the Dambaram Sokoto Alhaji Saidu Machidu, the Sultan extends sympathies to Oyo State government and people, the bereaved family and the Olubadan in council, acknowledging the significant contributions made by the late monarch towards the development of Ibadan land and humanity at large. First Lady Oluremi Tinubu expresses condolences to the Governor of Plateau State, Caleb Mutfwang, and Senator Diket Plang of Plateau Central Senatorial District on the passing of his wife. In a condolence message, the First Lady also sympathizes with the family of the bereaved and wives of other distinguished senators. While praying that God grants the husband, children and family of the deceased the fortitude to bear the painful loss, the First Lady also prays for the repose of the soul of the deceased. It's time now to join Hingino in Lagos. Hingino.
Thank you, Najatu, and welcome to Lagos. Sharpening the skills of officers from law enforcement agencies involved in the investigation and prosecution of directors, managers, and officers of banks involved in malpractice and insider abuses responsible for the collapse of banks forms the crux of the 3-day capacity building workshop organized by the Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation, NDIC, in Lagos. Amaka Owo reports.
The Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation has been at the forefront of preventing bank failures. Therefore, regular training of key officers from law enforcement agencies remain imperative, as it is one of the strategies deployed by the NDIC in ensuring accurate as well as timely investigation and prosecution of cases of failed banks across the country. In view of the technological dynamics transforming the banking system, updating the knowledge of these key officers and understanding the complexities in financial crimes in order to match up with the tactics of perpetrators for effective probe of culprits of bank failures becomes necessary.
Through your collaboration efforts, I am aware that 11 cases are currently being prosecuted at different courts, 25 ongoing investigations with FMIU, 8 with EFCC, and 9 concluded investigations with Federal Ministry of Justice.
It is an affirmation of our collective commitment to having a safe and sound financial system.
Presentations from various facilitators helped on building a strong case, elements and evidence in financial crimes prosecution in Nigeria, investigating cybercrime and bank fraud, among other pertinent issues.
We must not rest on our laurels to, deal with them and be able to anticipate the antics, because the nefarious activities could impact financial system stability.
The theme of the 2025 workshop is investigating and prosecuting and financial malpractice in Nigeria, a critical analysis of strategies to prevent bank failures. In Lagos, Amaka O, NTA News.
And the Nigerian Air Force has reaffirmed its commitment to prioritize the welfare of veterans and equip them with requisite knowledge that will enable their proper reintegration into the society after retirement. This was contained in the Chief of the Air Staff's message as the Force honors 055 NAF veterans in Lagos. Diana Ajali reports.
Saddled with the primary responsibility of defending Nigeria's airspace from external threats and ensure its integrity while supporting other military arms, the Nigerian Air Force, no doubt, has over the years remained active, playing crucial roles in disaster relief, search and rescue, as well as maintaining national security. Among officers who have contributed their quota in the defense of their country in various ways are veterans of the Nigerian Air Force 055 Camp, Lagos. On this day, the airmen and women are not here preparing to go on the field as usual, but it is a time to celebrate them as veterans. For the Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar, who was represented by the Commander, Nigerian Air Force 055 Camp, Lagos, celebrating these veterans who have once bore the weight of duty is of utmost importance.
They should continue to connect with particularly the closest Nigerian Air Force units to them, so that the service will continue to take care of them, and that is also caveated with the Chief of Air Staff Command philosophy.
Some of the veterans honored shared memories and what they are going to miss about the military environment as they commence another phase of life.
You can be called upon at any moment, at any given time. But now that I've retired, I have to rest and take care of myself and take care of my family. No more biggling. Falling.
I will never forget Guest Military School because I spent all my youth days, years there.
The Veterans Parley event featured lectures that focused on maintaining a healthy lifestyle, key realities, and redefining work-life balance after service. The veterans were also given free medical checks. In Lagos, Diana Ajale, NTA News.
That's it from here. Time now for some messages. The news will be back shortly.
The Nigeria Data Protection Commission, NDPC, has fined MultiChoice Nigeria 766.2 million naira for violating the Nigeria Data Protection Act, NDPA. In a statement by the NDPC, its investigation found that MultiChoice unlawfully processed personal data of both subscribers and non-subscribers and conducted unauthorized cross-border data transfers. The NDPC states that these actions breached the Data Protection Act and Nigeria's constitution. NDPC CEO Dr. Vincent Olatunji has ordered a full review of all MultiChoice data collection channels, warning that any breach will face further penalties. It's time now to join Musa in his business corner for the latest business news. Musa?
Thank you, Najat. Let's begin with energy. Oil prices rose on Monday despite OPEC Plus announcing a larger than expected output increase for August and ongoing concerns about the potential impact of U.S. tariffs. The market remains supported by tight physical supplies. OPEC and its allies, collectively known as OPEC Plus, agreed on Saturday to boost production by 548,000 barrels per day in August, higher than the 411,000 barrels per day increases seen in each of the previous 3 months. Brent crude, which had earlier dropped to $67.22 a barrel, rebounded to $69.05 by 10:20 a.m. ET, gaining 75 cents or 1.1%. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude also recovered from a low of $65.40 a barrel to trade at $67.52, up 52 cents or 0.78%. It was a cautious climb on the Nigerian exchange today as investors tiptoed through a mixed trading session with a slight touch of optimism. The all-share index inched up by 0.25%, closing at 121,295.33 points as investors continue to digest earnings reports and navigate macroeconomic uncertainty with guarded optimism. Despite the modest gain, market activity stayed relatively soft. The session recorded 24,042 deals with a total volume of 824.1 million shares traded, valued at 14.44 billion naira. The overall market capitalization followed the ASI's lead, ticking higher to settle at 76.53 trillion naira, reflecting a renewed, if cautious, confidence in blue chip and mid-tier equities. Stocks plunged to their lowest levels on Monday following President Donald Trump's announcement of a 25% tariff on imports from Japan and South Korea. Let's see stocks across the globe. Well, it's now time to pause for some messages. The news continues after the break.
Handing over now to Ayo in the arena for sports update. Ayo.
Yeah, thanks so much, Nadia. Well, you're seated, but we'll begin with some martial arts because Karate Federation of Nigeria will use the 2025 African Karate Championship UFAC from July 22 to 27 in Abuja to consolidate gains of grassroots development and make elite karatecas in the country a force to be reckoned with on the continent. President of the Federation, Silas Agara, told the NTA of his confidence in Team Nigeria's ability to excel after a series of drills and rigorous training in preparation for the championship.
I'm quite happy with the report coming from the camp. Hopefully, we should be able to put in a very good performance here in Nigeria to ensure that we host to decently win.
Let's go over to football. South Africa kicked off their title defense of the Women's Africa Cup of Nations WAFCON with a 2-0 victory over Ghana in Group C. First half goals from Linda Mothalo and Jermaine Seposenwe were enough to cage the Black Queens as Banyana fired a warning shot in their bid to retain the title. They won in 2022. Next for South Africa in Group C on Friday is Tanzania, while Ghana are up against Mali in Berkane. And Tanzania right now face South Africa in Ujda. Well, meanwhile, in the other match, Mali currently lead Tanzania by a 1-0 with Saratu Traore scoring in the dying minute of the first 45 minutes. Just some few minutes to the end of that match. Let's come back to Nigeria, where House of Representatives are committed to strengthening collaboration with the National Sports Commission to make the country's sports economy a vibrant contributor to Nigeria's economic growth. Chairman House Committee on Sports, Kabiru Amadu, expressed this while acknowledging innovation by the NSC since the appointment of Shehu Diko as chairman by President Tinubu last year, reaffirming the commitment to leverage on emerging successes for greater outcomes, beginning with the Women's Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco, where Nigeria's Super Falcons are bidding to win the tournament for an unprecedented 10th title. And that's your sports. It's back to Najatu.
Thank you, Ayo. Parts of Abuja experienced rain. Will this be the case tomorrow? Let's find out.
Thanks for joining us. Earlier today, thunderstorms swept across the northeastern region of the country, brushing parts of the northwestern region as well. This system is now tracking westwards, and it's expected to bring rainfall to parts of Kebbi, Zamfara, and parts of Sokoto State, as rainfall totals between 10 to 20 millimeters in those areas. Now heading into the central part of the country, including the Federal Capital Territory, Kaduna, some parts of Nasarawa, Benue, and Plateau. Residents there should prepare for light to moderate rain showers. Some parts of the central state could see rainfall amounts between 20 to 50 millimeters of rain. And those of you in the southwest and south-south, particularly parts of Lagos, Ogun, some parts of Ondo, parts of Bayelsa, Delta, and Edo, continuous rainfall is expected, with totals possibly exceeding 50 millimeters. That kind of rainfall can quickly lead to flooding. So please stay weather alert and avoid waterlogged areas where possible. And that's your weather update for now. Thank you for watching.
Cloudy with light showers. That's the outlook for tomorrow. And that concludes the network news on NTA. Thanks for staying with us. I'm Najatu Tijani.